Hey everyone! We all know the Stranger Things theme. It's iconic. But today, we're moving past the 80s nostalgia surface level. We're going deep into the signal chain. We're talking about why this soundtrack doesn't just sound like an old movie, but why it feels so physically unsettling. The magic of Kyle Dixon and Michael Stein, the minds behind the score, isn't just that they used synths. It's how they exploited the technical limitations and unique instabilities of analog hardware to create a sonic language for the upside down. Let's break down the gear and the theory. To understand this sound, you have to understand the big three instruments used in the production. First, the Prophet 6 and the vintage Prophet 5. This is where those lush, brassy pads come from. But more importantly, it's about the filters. Unlike digital plugins that calculate a perfect curve, these analog filters have phase shifts and harmonic distortions that make the sound feel alive and slightly unpredictable. Then, we have the Oberheim OB8. This synth is famous for its massive, wide stereo spread. In the Stranger Things score, they use it to create that sense of overwhelming scale. When you see a massive monster or a government conspiracy unfolding, that's usually the Oberheim's discrete oscillators doing the heavy lifting. And finally, the Mellotron. It's not a synth, but a tape replay instrument. By using the flute or choir tapes, they added a haunting, organic texture that bridges the gap between electronic and acoustic. It adds a layer of dust and history to the music. Now, let's talk about the pulse. The main theme is built on a C major 7th arpeggio. Technically, it's a very simple $C E G B pattern. But here's the trick, they used a sync function on the oscillators. In analog synthesis, hard sync forces one oscillator to restart its cycle every time the other one does. By modulating the pitch of the slave oscillator, you get those aggressive, tearing overtones. This creates a sound that is harmonically rich but also feels like it's straining or screaming under the surface. They also lean heavily on dissonance and atonality. For the upside-down scenes, they aren't following traditional scales. They use microtonal drifts, where the oscillators are slightly out of tune with each other. In our brains, we perceive this beating effect as a sign of danger or instability. It's psychoacoustics 101. The secret sauce, however, is the signal path. Stein and Dixon didn't just plug these synths into a computer. They ran them through outboard gear like the Roland Space Echo. The Space Echo uses physical loops of magnetic tape. As the tape gets older and the motors fluctuate, you get wow and flutter, subtle pitch wobbles. This is crucial. It's what gives the soundtrack that warped feeling. They also used heavy tape saturation to round off the transients. This is why the kicks and pulses in the show don't poke your ears like a modern EDM track. They feel warm, compressed, and slightly muffled, just like a 1984 broadcast. At the end of the day, the Stranger Things BSO is a masterclass in controlled imperfection. It reminds us that in a world of perfect digital precision, there is something deeply human, and deeply terrifying, about the sound of a machine that is slightly broken. It's the sound of electricity struggling through circuits, mirroring the struggle of the characters in Hawkins. If you're a producer, the lesson here is simple: stop chasing perfection and start chasing character. Thanks for watching. If you want a deep dive into the specific patches for the Prophet 6, let me know in the comments. See you in the next one.